Me and Joel were talking. We had a really good conversation
We're
here.
having a good time. We're having some cheap wine and cigarettes. And we're just we're all over the place.
Yeah,
We're just
man.
a good time, fun party boys over here.
Absolutely. And we've been talking about every topic imaginable, all loosely related to the Jehovah's Witnesses.
All
Um,
the experience we have growing up dumb.
yeah, and all things related. And his video got cut off. He ran out of space on his phone, so I was like, "Hey, I'll pick up mine, and you do a little bit, and I'll do a little bit." And our last conversation, we was talking about just how you have a lot of people that are actually discouraging apostate activism by telling them, well, the best way is to do it this way, or that way is terrible, it's awful, it's doing more harm than good, using language like that. And
Those are the same people that are telling you to respect the watchtower.
yeah,
They got to be able to handle reality one of these days. I think that people need to be able to hear it, and so.
I hear you, man. It's just like, I just want people to have the courage to disrupt Jehovah's Witness activities wherever you see them. I'm not encouraging you necessarily to shout and to be rude. I prefer you not to be. But if you are in the heat of the moment and you raise your voice a little bit, so be it. They need to be disrupted. They need to know what they've done to us, and these are powerful ways of doing that.
This, right? Think about it like this, and just try this out for size. Because a lot of things in life are about perspective. So I really want active Jehovah's Witnesses to ask themselves just one question, right? Jesus was a very peaceful and loving man, right, who defied the law to heal people. And even when people were, socially condemned, like prostitutes and lepers, people who were on the outer fringes of society, who were not considered people that you wanted to be around, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus made a point to show extra mercy and love towards those people, and he singled those people out directly, right? So, if the Bible establishes anything, and this is why I have such a conflict with Christianity, but this is such a departure from this conversation, is that I can't personally make my Christianity work because I can't reconcile the God of the Old Testament with the God of the Christian Greek Scriptures. I can't do that. And so if it's the same God, I don't want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
I can't fathom that. I can't figure it out. But my point being is that Jesus had a sense of justice about him. He didn't like seeing bad things happen. He didn't like seeing people being taken advantage of. He preached his whole life about being fair to people and about having a sense of justice about you,
Mm-hmm.
and treat everybody equally under the law. To the least of you, you should treat them like the best of you. Is a revolutionary teaching when you take into account the idea that human nature, going back as far as we know, has been a nature of conquest. It's, I want what you got, I'm going to smack you over the head, and drag your wife off, and I'm going to conquer your bloodline. That's been the nature of human activity since we understand with science, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is why I'm not completely against Christianity right here, is because while I understand that personally I have I can't reconcile my Christianity, I do recognize Jesus as an excellent philosopher because he is one of the very first people who ever stood up and said, "You've turned my father's house into a den of robbers." I mean, he goes out there with a violent rage, this Gandhi among men who's out there when everybody else, in the Roman civilization back then, you could die at the hands of the state a very disgusting, painful death of torture. That people had very limited rights and they were trampled on all the time by the governments and people that lorded over them. That was a very common occurrence, right? Pilate, Caesar, they could do whatever they want to the common man and get away with murder, literally. And there's nothing he could do, the little guy could do about it, because I got centurions, what do you got?
Right.
Exactly. So, this man, Jesus, was, to me, I think so impressive that he was overturning, I mean, he went on a rage at the temple that one day because he saw the Jews out there are jacking up the prices on all these things, people required to be able to have a sacrifice, to be able to worship their God, to their conscience or whatever. You know, the point is, and I know that I took this down a rabbit hole to make this point, but I think that it's warranted because if Jesus freaked out about people selling sparrows for exorbitant prices, what do you think Jesus would do if he busted in on a meeting of the governing body when these guys have covered up pedophiles?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry for that big build-up, but that's the point here, and that's where I want to wrap this up and make the point. What do you think? What would Jesus say about this organization that claims to represent him?
Right.
Because, okay, Jesus' sense of justice and the Watchtower sense of justice are two different things.
There is a time to raise your voice. There is a time for action. It has its place.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So don't tell me that going out there and raising a sign is committing some sort of crime or that it's the wrong way of protesting.
Mm-hmm.
Don't waste time. Here's the thing. If somebody wants to look down on someone for whatever methodology they choose for their activism, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for anyone who wants to be judgmental when it comes to this whole thing, because here's the thing. That person with the microphone, that person who is out there who maybe was socially awkward or whatever, but who's obviously driven and passionate about this message, maybe this person didn't say everything perfectly, but you know what? At the end of the day, what happened is he's cutting off the food supply for this cult. He's out there and
Right.
He's educating John Q. Public about these people that knock on their doors on a Saturday morning.
While they're having a conversation with him, they can't turn around and have a conversation with anybody else about their literature, about their religion. They can't do anything but deal with what's in front of them right then, the opposition.
And it lets people know that not everything is fine with this religion.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is as hunky-dory as JW.org looks.
You know what? And when you do kind of get in their face, and when you do kind of raise your voice a little, and you let them know you're upset, let me tell you something. Their heart starts pumping, and to me, this is what I would say. Go ahead and put their Holy Spirit to the test. You know, when they're out there, they are under the mindset that they have God's backing. They have everything they need. If you can put them in a corner, and if you can make them realize that they failed terribly in that situation and they couldn't deal with it, you know what? You're showing them that they don't have this power that supposedly is given to them, and they don't have the backing of the angels.
Boo-hoo. Accept it and move on. You know, stop screwing people's families up about it. You know, stop shunning people. Stop killing kids. Stop hiding pedophiles. It's a pretty rational set of demands that we have, really. It's like, look, I don't care if you go off and worship Jehovah all day long. Please stop killing kids. Okay, just number one, stop killing kids. Can you do that? Like, kids are pretty cool. Stop killing them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Pedophiles are bad people. Right? They hurt little kids that we love. Right? They ruin people's lives for their entire times. Let's expose pedophiles. Let's not cover them up. Right? If you know that there's 9 pedophiles in your congregation, okay, make sure everybody else around you knows that as well.
Right.
Because fair is fair. Let's not go covering up pedophiles, right? Okay, my third demand, I don't care if you keep on worshiping Jehovah. I don't care if people keep on funneling money to the Watchtower. I don't care how tall their skyscrapers are over there in Bethel. I don't care about how much the Rolexes that the idiot governing body guys wear. Please do me a solid and stop ripping people's families apart, because that'd be really great. It's 3 basic demands that we have.
Right.
Former members of the Jehovah's Witnesses. Stop. I dropped the F-bomb like 20 times. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Look, stop screwing with people's lives. All right, it's very simple. If you can take care of these 3 things for me, right? And it's just simple stuff, right? Think. Repeat. I know it's a crazy concept. I get it, governing body, but really, what would Jesus do? Just repeat after me. Just say that, and then would Jesus want families to be broken up over this whole thing?
Right.
Probably because Jesus wanted love to prevail, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is that what this is? Especially over things that are such a gray area a lot of times when it comes to JW doctrine and the Bible and all that, and how they've manipulated the scriptures. Is it so much to ask that we stop covering up pedophiles? Is it so much to ask that we stop shunning people and making them commit suicide?
Well,
is that much to ask?
This is definitely going on our list of demands for November 5th, 2017.
It's just that, like, here's the thing: is we've come together as a collective on this whole thing, and I want people to understand that when we talk about the vast apostate army, I'm talking about former Jehovah's Witnesses, good friends of mine who are stepping out and they're like, you know what, I want to make sure we do this the best way possible, and they're talking about real strategies for really bringing on this thing, for really putting a stop to this evil, right? We rant about the pedophile stuff, we rant about the false doctrines, we rant about how much they tear apart families, but then how much are we really trying to strategize on its actual downfall? Are we really going to sit back and think that they're going to just voluntarily stop doing this? Is that what you really want to count on? Or do you want to stand up and do you want to do something that's going to actively kill this thing and cut off its food chain? All I'm saying is that if we just go out there and we educate the public, cut off their food chain, regardless of any other outside influence and anything else, they are extinct in 30 years and they will cease to exist, and therefore no more pedophiles from that Jehovah's Witness organization, no more shunning, and no more families being ripped apart. There will be other problems in the world to move on to at that point.
We all have to act as educators in our communities. I mean, whatever you can contribute. You know, I was thinking about, Joel, they have an open mic at the library where people bring their issues to the table. I was thinking about making a presentation, my friend. You know, and you know, the community here is very close knit. Everybody knows everybody. If I gave a presentation in this community, I'm wondering, you know, how much that would get around, because I mean, listen, the Jehovah's Witnesses are knocking on your doors. They're getting their message out. We need to get our message out as well.
How about a few choice pages from Bo Jewell's book?
Oh, yeah.
How about just to read a couple of pages to that crowd?
Oh, that's excellent, dude. That's a brilliant idea.
And paint the picture for this crowd about an organization that for some reason decides that they want to protect people that predate on children. You know, and Bo Jewell writes about the fear that he lived under and how it affected him. And it affected me so much reading this book on an emotional level that I was just pissed off all over again. And I started thinking to myself, you know,
I think I'm on chapter 5 right now.
It's just that, you know, when I started thinking about the importance of this whole thing, well, you know, just not the depth of it is the word I'm looking for. When I started thinking about what really went into Bo Jewell's book, the things that he experienced, not once, not twice, but for a long time. Things that he could never, he spent his formative years where he should be out, you know, enjoying a little kid's life, like catching bugs and going fishing with his dad, and not having to worry about being, you know, stuffed into a cellar. I mean, my heart was out for him, and then it's bad enough that somebody is out there that is sick enough to treat little kids like that. That's sick enough, right? But to protect that,
and
like, you're really gonna, like, I mean, I just, and that's why I read Bo Jewell's book, and it's like, you know, before I've been thinking about kind of hanging up my YouTube and everything, and it's just like so I got to stop and think, like, if that was an intention that Bo Jewell had, he wanted to energize everyone and get everyone thinking and everyone passionate and get everybody thinking about how important this is.
Absolutely.
And then if his book is important, if not for anything else, because it motivates you, because you see people that you know about firsthand.